Hi, this is Carly Queen 113, and this is my thoughts on Fairy Tale Chapter 465. If you remember last week, I was saying that I hope that in 465, Natsu finds out who he is, or we get a flashback of how he came to be. So I'm pleased to announce that Natsu does find out who he is in this chapter. He just doesn't accept it. So, as expected, his ace in the hole did not work against Zeref, and Zeref was fine. However, Zeref did say that Natsu's ace in the hole could possibly destroy him anyways. Before he went into that, he was like, but before I tell you that, I need to tell you something else. And this is how we get into Natsu's story about how he came to be, how the Dragon Slayers came to be, why they were there in the future, and who helped them to get there. So, I had thought in the past, I guess from probably the beginning where Laxus was attacking the guild and the guildiel and Natsu couldn't get through, I was thinking that they had come from some time, that they were older than we thought. And then when we came to the arc about the eclipse, it had the dragons coming in from the past. If the dragons could come from the past, couldn't the Dragon Slayers come from the past too? So, my thoughts were that on that day, 777, all the Dragon Slayers who had originally been from 400 years in the past went through the Eclipse Gate to the future. And that's why they couldn't see their dragons anymore. Now, it also says that the Eclipse Gate was needed by a celestial mage. So that goes into why Layla died on that day as well, because Layla was one of the celestial mages who helped them get through. So I'm guessing she lost all of her strength and she died because of that. The other mage was somebody in the past named Anna, a celestial mage who opened it from the other side. So that shows that they're really strong, and we're able to get this through. Now, once we see that part that they all came to the future, we also go into the part about well, that came later, but Zeref tells us something that I had been supplicated about in the past, that Natsu and his parents were killed by dragons in 400 years ago, and that he used that strength to bring Natsu back. Now, one thing I didn't know, however, was that Zeref was friends with Agneil. I thought that maybe they could have known each other, but apparently they were friends, which would make sense why Natsu went to Neil in the first place. I love this part where it talks about Zeref was like, you didn't listen then either. You wouldn't read, you wouldn't write, yada yada yada. And then it reminds me of the time when Natsu was with Agneil and he said, I even learned how to read and write because of you. So I guess Zeref had told Agneil about that. And so Agneil said he would train Natsu to do those things as well as train him in Dragon Slayer power. So that's how that came to be. Then we have a question about how did Natsu form Tartarus? Well, I was wondering if maybe he had been changed back to a child or something, but that was totally not true. What happened basically was Natsu had nothing to do with Tartarus. That was actually Mardgrir who found the book, E&D's book, and he said that he came up with something to make the demons or whatever from Tartarus be loyal to him by saying that E&D was their master and he had given him permission or something like that. So because of that, he was able to form Tartarus because they listened to him because of the book. And so that's where we have Zeref saying, well, E&D is the master of Tartarus, which is kind of funny, but he likes to play with words or whatever. Another part that I thought was interesting was how Zeref was like, I used to look for a way to die, but then 400 years went by, and I got tired of humans. And I was thinking that happened too, because at 400 years, of course you would get tired of humans, why not? But then I met Navis, so he wouldn't care about people anymore. But then I met Mavis, and Mavis tried to teach him a little bit, but before she could teach him fully, she was gone as well. So then he says that the part where he's like, well, if I can't destroy myself, then I'll destroy the world. It's kind of like, well, if he destroys the world, he'd destroy himself anyways. So maybe that's where he gets that from. Maybe he was thinking that the only way to do it was to destroy humankind. Was the only way to destroy himself as well. I mean, that's just a speculation, and that's assuming that Zeref really didn't want to destroy everybody in the first place, and that he was just doing it because he had no choice or something. But it would go along with his character, as crazy as that is. Anyways, now, one thing that I thought was interesting was Natsu's reaction to everything. He didn't believe anything that Zeref said, but actually I don't think that's true. I think he believed what Zeref said, but he didn't want to believe it. So he was in extreme denial about it. But one thing that people had thought, one thing that had been questioned about, well, if E&D is Natsu, in the books, in the Demons of Natsu, or Zeref's demons die and Zeref dies too, wouldn't that mean that Natsu would die too? And yes, that's true. If Natsu kills Zeref, he would die as well. And I thought it was interesting between Natsu and the book, the correlation. Because Natsu himself has like a burn on his face, and then the book, like at the top corner, it has like a burn or a indent that's the exact same shape as the book, as the one on his face. So anything that happens to the book happens to Natsu, which is why Neil told him not to destroy it. And I thought that was why too, because I thought that maybe if he destroyed it, it would destroy him and it would destroy everybody. And that's the case. So this chapter was really good with all these revelations that it came up with Layla being the one who helped the Dragon Slayers to the future with the sole purpose to kill Acnologia. So Zeref was waiting for them for so long, and then they came. So it was kind of crazy. But, so now, obviously, in order to destroy Acnologia, the 5 Slayers or whatever are going to have to combine, and that's probably going to succeed in them destroying him. But they're probably going to need assistance from Lumitistore. Maybe Zeref, if he decides to assist them, but that's probably not going to happen considering his attitude and stuff. But one thing that brought me to mind was while we were going through that chapter, and Zeref says, you can kill me with Neil's power. Natsu says, well, I'm about to lose this power. And so he's like, well, and he listens to the story. He says, I don't care what you said. It doesn't change the fact of what I'm here to do. So he goes in there to defeat Zeref when Happy comes and pulls him away. And then I was thinking, I don't know if that was stupid or smart, because Zeref has just said that he wanted to destroy everything because he was going to be destroyed. So if Happy takes Natsu away, and nothing else happens, isn't he just making it easy for Zeref to destroy everybody? So it's kind of like, is Natsu worth the lives of millions of people that are guaranteed to die once this whole thing is destroyed? I don't know, Happy probably wasn't thinking about that. He was just thinking, Natsu's my friend, and everything, and I don't want anything to happen. But, that comes to the thing that something else has to happen to get rid of Zeref, and something else has to happen, so that everything doesn't get destroyed. And I think that's one part where Lumitistore is going to come in. And I don't know, I'm thinking it might have, Lumitistore might also have to do with the way to destroy Zeref without destroying Natsu. And I'm just saying that because of the picture that Hiro Mishima drew. It was just a funny little picture, but it just made me think that this is what's going to happen. But it was really, really interesting. So now we have Natsu pulling, Happy flying Natsu away. He's going to see the guild, and Zeref's like, well, you lost your chance, so I'm going after you guys now. And so he declares war again. He's going to destroy everybody. But The next chapter after that is called Assassin, and I wonder what's gonna happen in that. Cause I'm wondering, like I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm wondering if somebody's going to try to assassinate Zeref. I was hoping that maybe Crime Sorcerer would come into play, or somebody would try to assassinate somebody at the Fairy Tale Guild. And that's what I'm looking forward to. We do have three perfectly capable, at least two, if not three people who are perfectly capable of infiltrating Fairy Tale and destroying and assassinating somebody. So if that's the case, if it's not somebody trying to destroy Zeref, like Crime Sorcerer or whatever, trying to destroy Zeref, it's like one of the three Spriggan trying to destroy somebody in Fairy Tale. I'm basically wondering who they're going to destroy. Is it going to be Mavis, Louis' story, or somebody else? But I'm excited to find out more, and I hope we get a lot of more questions answered in our upcoming chapters. Thank you.